morning, everyone. I would like to warmly welcome you to this press conference and offer my thanks to all the speakers today. InClassica has been running for over a month now and is proving to be a great success. It's with great pleasure that I would like to welcome two very distinguished guests, Dr. Jose Herrera, Malta's Minister for Heritage, National Heritage, Arts and Local Government, and the Ambassador of the Republic of Malta in Dubai and permanent representative of Malta to the International Renewable Energy Agency, Abu Dhabi, Her Excellency Ms. Maria Camilleri Calleja. We are also very pleased to have with us Joseph Calleja, worldwide opera star and Malta first culture ambassador, whose performance last night we enjoyed very much. As you probably know, the European Foundation for Support of Culture is a Malta-based foundation which works to promote and support culture both in Malta and abroad. It's an honor for us to be joined by this distinguished guest from Malta. I will now pass the microphone to another friend from Malta, our artistic director, Mr. Alan Kirkhope.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our special press conference this morning. We are on the 20th day out of 30 of this long festival in Dubai. It's one of the biggest, probably the world's biggest festival happening in these times after the pandemic. And we are very honored to have with us the Honorable Minister from Malta, who came also to support and give his important support to the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra, who are with us, and is one of 7 orchestras participating in this festival. And yesterday we had a very special concert with Malta's most famous tenor, not just Malta's famous tenor, but one of the world's leading tenors, Joseph Calleja, under the direction of Sergei Sambatyan, who delivered a wonderful performance yesterday. And we are very honored to have Malta represented in this festival with its best artists and the most representative music ensemble, which is the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra. InClassica incorporates 30 concerts over 30 days, featuring 37 world-renowned soloists, 7 international orchestras, and 12 international conductors. Concerts which initially started at the Dubai Opera, and eventually the second part of the concerts are being held at the Coca-Cola Arena. And apart from the festival concerts, which are being held, which have been started from 28th of August and finish on 26th of September, within the framework of the festival, in August, we also had InClassica Classic Piano International Piano Competition, which was the final stage of 14 international piano competitions, which we held over the past 2 years, and all the winners from these competitions were admitted for the final stage of this grand competition, which was over 4 rounds. And in fact, the final 2 rounds, the 3rd and 4th round, were with the Armenian State Symphony Orchestra. And apart from this competition also, in September, beginning of September, and it is now ongoing, we also have the Middle East Classical Music Academy, incorporating master classes and daily concerts here in Music Hall of Sabil Sarai. Also featuring the Kaliningrad Symphony Orchestra in these daily concerts with many different conductors and international artists, apart from young classical music stars, prodigies who are featuring also with the orchestra during these concerts, which have started on the 4th of September to 23rd of September. To round up my introduction, I would also like to mention our composer in residence, Alexei Shor, whose works are being also performed in most of the concerts, and his works alongside with other Maltese composers, including the late Joseph Vella and Charles Camilleri, and other living and young Maltese composers, were also compulsory pieces in the competition, the piano competition. So we are very happy that we could proceed with this festival. This festival, as everybody knows, was initially had been planned over the past 2 years to be held in Malta, because it is our yearly international music festival, which is usually the climax of our activity during the year. We have about 15 different international music festivals happening in 15 different countries all over the world. And as a Maltese foundation, the Malta International Music Festival is usually the climax of our activity. And every 3 years we have a grand and even bigger festival which is held in Malta due to the restrictions and the difficulties which we encountered due to lockdown and restrictions of the venues in Malta. We were constrained to postpone initially, and then eventually, since the situation did not get any better, to relocate and find an alternative to hold this festival. And we thank the Dubai Opera and the Coca-Cola Arena, as well as Abel Sarai Music Hall, for the availability and resources and facilities which they provided. And this has eventually enabled us to hold this festival almost without any big changes, and still having been able to host 7 international orchestras and all the long list and very distinguished artists that we have on our schedule. I thank our media partners, Medici TV, Euronews, MBC Group, and also today present we have the public broadcasting services and Times of Malta being represented here in Dubai, and also the international press who are with us. And I would also like to thank Summit Event Group, who are representing the European Foundation for Support of Culture here in Dubai to organize these activities and this festival. I will not go into further details. Everybody has been with us over all the press conference that we have been holding. You've got also our extensive program brochure of the festival and of the Music Academy. So I would like to introduce further guests on the panel to give us their address and their impressions of being here with us in the festival. For most of them is also a debut in Dubai, or it's even the first time in being in Dubai, apart from performing. And I would like to pass on the word to my friend Joseph Kaleya to give us his impressions and views after yesterday's performance with the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra.
Thank you so much, my friend Alan. Thank you, all of you, for being here today. I mean, what to say? Looking at the brochure of InClassica, it's really impressive that in this day and age, with these current restrictions, they're able to get some of the best talent in the world from the plethora of the performing arts. It's a privilege to be associated with this festival that really is bringing you the creme de la creme of the artistic world. Of course, it's great to be in Dubai. It's of course a pity that my home country lost on so much talent because of the current restrictions. Perhaps even though we are more than 90% vaccinated, fully vaccinated, I think now is the time to release some of these restrictions, especially when various studies from various universities show that going to opera, to concerts in general, pose minimal risk. Talking personally, in Madrid, we alternated 3 casts of Tosca at the Teatro Real. We started with 60%, going up to 75% capacity. And as far as I know, we didn't have in 18 performances throughout June and July, we didn't have one COVID case in the theater. So it's a bit of food for thought for the authorities in Malta, the health authorities, to stop treating concerts as some kind of risk for COVID. Of course, it's a big pleasure to be singing again with the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra. The Malta Philharmonic Orchestra that is being under the stewardship of CEO Sigmund Mifsud and Chairman Catherine Tabone. They're being exposed to one world-class artist after another. This is how an orchestra grows, and growing it is indeed. Talking a bit about yesterday, it was every night after COVID, after being completely frozen for 18 months. I only did mostly TV work and the Metropolitan Opera Gala from the home and from home and from Caserta in Napoli. To be again back on the stage with my friend, Maestro Sergei Sambatian, to have my brothers and sisters of the orchestra, of the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra, it was an incredible pleasure, and to sing for an audience, something that I'm sure not just myself but many of my fellow artists will never take for granted again. Nothing else to add. Thank you for all the audiences in Dubai and those people around the world that are slowly filling up theaters. Many theaters are now sold out. It seems the public missed opera, not only opera, of course, the whole gamut of classical music. Thank you for having the courage, for having the love for music. Without music, we are nothing. So it's good that we are now restarting. Last but not least, Summit, the European Foundation, InClassica, this trident of organizations. Thank you so much for finding first of all, the inspiration in this climate, for finding the energy, and for having the will to discover and to bring all these artists from their different genres together. Thank you so much, and thank you again for being here.
I think it would be very adequate that Sergei would continue about the concert yesterday and his experience here in InClassica, where he's been conducting almost all the different orchestras on the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Yes, yesterday was a very special concert for me. After long the break, concert with public, with Joseph Galea, with Malta the Philharmonic. That's, crazy emotions, and we performed very bright and warm program, and mixed the feelings, because there was not my first concert during the festival, but yes, I'm agree that's the fantastic combination of the greatest artists, different the programs, and it's fantastic to perform, to work and speak about art, and to be here. That's a great honor, and every time to go on stage with Joseph and to celebrate this feeling, because we performed in Dubai 2 months ago, and to come back again with unnormal the emotions, that's something very special for me. And today we have at the concert, I have at the concert with Misha Maisky, so looking forward, and that's really fantastic feeling to come back and to speak about valuable things. And thanks to the orchestra, because there was craziest schedule, so we have just had only one rehearsal, even not a long rehearsal. So thanks to the orchestra, because you need to have a phenomenal concentration to rehearse in the day of the concert and to go on stage. Thanks to the orchestra, and thank you very much for everything. Thanks.
We'd like to introduce Sigmund Mifsud, who is the CEO of the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra, to tell us a bit about the orchestra's experience here in Dubai, as being the first tour ever possible after the pandemic.
Thank you, Alan. As Plato once said, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. I believe that in such circumstances, such challenging times, music is the answer. And this is what is happening here in Dubai. And I believe that Dubai is setting an example to the world. It's being an inspiration to many countries. And thanks to InClassica, all this is happening now. And behind InClassica, obviously, there's a great man. And I would like to thank Mr. Konstantin Ishkanov for his vision. But I would also like to thank his incredible team for the great projects that we did together. Indeed, as Joseph Kalleya said, thanks to these important concerts with important artists, we are growing, and we are growing together with UFSC. So I would like to thank personally people like Olga, Regina, Larissa, obviously Maestro Alexei Shor, and all the people behind his team. As Joseph said, our orchestra is growing. And I would also like to thank our team, our management team, our musicians, but most especially our principal conductor, Maestro Sergei Sambatyan, who thanks to him, yes indeed, our orchestra is growing really fast. And last but not least, I would like to thank our Honorable Minister for Culture, Dr. Herrera, for honoring with his presence, and for the incredible changes he's doing in the local culture scene. But most of all, I would like to thank him for the best change in culture that he did, that is the cherry on the cake for our orchestra, that is Ms. Catherine Tabor.
Thank you very much, Sigmund. It is a pleasure for me to be here today, and an even greater pleasure to have been given the wonderful opportunity by Minister Herrera, present with us today, to work with such an amazing colleague as Sigmund, who has given years of his career towards the development of the MPO. An orchestra which is close to both our hearts. So seeing the orchestra travel around the world in recent years is something which gives us great pleasure and satisfaction. And seeing it collaborate with stars of this caliber, with stars like Joseph Kalleya, of course, with whom it collaborated in the past, but with other stars whom Konstantin Ishkanov, through the European Foundation for Support of Culture, is bringing to Dubai and has brought in the past to Malta, is very encouraging and gives the musicians motivation and interested in continuing to develop their performances and their capabilities. So having spoken about the EUFSC, I would also like to underline how important an exercise InClassica is in promoting intercultural dialogue. As you will be able to see from this brochure, the stars that InClassica has brought together hail from all over the world. I have seen people from South Korea, from Italy, from Austria, from the Netherlands, from Malta, from everywhere. And I think that what is most commendable is that InClassica is using the only language that needs no translation, and that is music. Everybody understands music. Everybody can feel the emotions that music conveys. And in a time that has been so difficult for the world over the past few years, since the pandemic started, I think that music is the element that can give us hope to regenerate and to start talking to each other again as we used to do, and to start collaborating with each other even more than before. And it is the element that underlines our humanity. So I really wish to thank the European Foundation for Support of Culture, to join my colleague Sigmund in thanking the team, and in thanking all those who have made this possible. As Joseph Kalleya said, and as well as Sigmund said, it would have been even better, of course, for us if this festival had taken place in Malta. But it is very encouraging that even in the most challenging of circumstances, the EUFSC found a way to go ahead with it and to keep on bringing music to all of us who love it and to all of us who need it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to introduce Mark Jancar, who is the general manager of Coca-Cola Arena, and one of the persons who we've encountered and were introduced to at the beginning of our decision to relocate our festival to Dubai, who has been very helpful. And as a matter of fact, I believe that InClassica concerts are the first classical symphonic concerts being held at the fabulous Coca-Cola Arena. Mark.
Thank you. Morning, ladies and gentlemen, His Excellencies. It's certainly been a privilege for the city of Dubai to host the InClassica Festival Series. Not only obviously the phenomenal content across this venue here, Jumeirah Zabil Zarai, Dubai Opera, but also Coca-Cola Arena, but the competitions and the academy as well. The work that the Foundation, Summit Group, and all its associates have put in from planning, scheduling, and logistics is incredible. Certainly unfortunate that it cannot be in Malta, but we're very privileged and honored to have it in the city of Dubai. And as a venue, it's been absolutely a pleasure to work with the team. Alan, you're absolutely right. It's our first symphonic series or shows of events. It's also a fantastic way to showcase the versatility and the multi-purpose of the venue. Our capacity is 17,000 concerts, and yet we still managed to beautifully design a venue that can host up to nearly 1,000 people every single night during the InClassica series. Thank you.
So we've spoken a lot about yesterday and the past concerts that we've had, and now we'll talk briefly about today's concert and the classical star today, whom we are hosting and who will be featuring with the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra under the direction of Sergei Sambatyan, is Misha Maisky, a very anticipated performance during our festival. So I'm very honored to welcome and ask Maestro Maisky for his comments.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. And I must say it's a real pleasure for me to finally have a chance to perform in Dubai. It's the first time. It's the first time with Malta's Symphony Orchestra. First time with Maestro Sambatyan. And I'm very much looking forward. And the only thing I can say then, I hope it's not the last time. And it's incredibly impressive festival. I've been to many wonderful festivals, but I must say that the concentration of different orchestras, different conductors, different musicians, and amount of concerts is really incredibly impressive. And I'm just sorry that I, due to a very busy schedule, could come only for a very short time. I wish I could stay longer and enjoy listening to other concerts and enjoy Dubai, but I hope very much and I'll have another occasion. Thank you.
Once the Malta Philharmonic departs tomorrow, we have a series of concerts now with the next orchestra who comes on board, the Deutsche Staatsphilharmonie Rheinland-Pfalz, who will arrive this evening, and the first concert is tomorrow under the direction of Michael Francis. And tomorrow's concert will also feature Stella Chen, who is with us here, and also the next day it would be with Italy's beautiful violinist Anna Tifu. So I ask Michael, please, to give us a bit of an insight about your expectations from this festival, and also I would imagine that it's the Staatsphilharmonie's first tour after the pandemic.
Yes, thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure to be here. And may I congratulate everybody involved for this amazing whole season that you've managed to create under the most trying of conditions. It really is a testament to courage and the necessity of our glorious art form at this time. So really wonderful. I haven't had a chance to visit Malta yet. I used to be in the London Symphony Orchestra in a former life, and Carmine Lowry, one of Malta's great talents, would always tell me how beautiful this island was, and I look forward to going at some point in the future. However, it's a great pleasure to be here in Dubai, and the Deutsche Staatslie Rheinland-Pfalz are delighted and honored to be invited to be here. I thought we had a rather busy schedule with 4 programs in 4 days, and I met Sergei, and I realized how much he'd been conducting, and I realized I'm barely doing anything in comparison to your remarkable program that you have going on as well. And it's a great pleasure to sit next to Misha Maisky, and I'm, of course, looking forward tremendously to working with the 4 outstanding soloists we have, Stella Chen, Anna Tifu, Carmen Giannatasio, and Andre Gugning. And it'll be a pleasure to perform Alexei Shaw's music as well. We're very much looking forward to that. And our programs will be a lovely blend of great European classics, particularly German, Brahms' First Symphony, a very unusual version of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony in the Mahler version, which is a little like Beethoven on steroids. So that's something to witness and to hear. We sort of turn it up quite a lot with that piece. And then I did notice in the program that another COVID change, a COVID casualty. Us poor conductors have been changing programs consistently every day for the last 18 months, so it's no surprise that there's been one more. Unfortunately, we will not be able to bring The Rite of Spring, but we brought another little small piece by Stravinsky called The Firebird, which I think is a rather decent substitute, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that as well. The orchestra is tremendously excited to be here on tour, as you can imagine. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to showcase our talents, but above all, to participate in this marvelous festival. So I congratulate everybody involved, both here in Dubai and also in Malta, and all the visionaries that have managed to make this fantastic festival come to life. Congratulations to everybody.
And at tomorrow's concert with the Deutsche Staatsphilharmonie Rheinland-Pfalz, the solos will be Stella Chen, who is not new to Dubai. She featured in our Symphonic Middle East series of concerts earlier in June. Stella, how is it to return to Dubai?
It's absolutely magical. I did an interview outside this morning, so I'm a little bit sweaty, but the view is incredible. I'm so happy to be back. The last time I was here, I actually graduated with my doctorate and then immediately got on the plane and came to Dubai, and then played the concert and had to go back home. And so I'm very glad to be here for a couple more days this time. It's my first time collaborating with Maestro Francis and his orchestra, and I couldn't be more thrilled. And I just wanted to join everyone in the chorus of appreciation for everyone who was involved in making this happen, because it's so special to be performing for live audiences, especially after the dearth of concerts. And I've really come to appreciate the dialogue between not only the composer and the performer, but also the audience. And so I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm so delighted to be here with this fantastic group of artists. Thank you.
I would also like to introduce Anna Tifu for the second concert of the German orchestra the day after tomorrow.
Hello everyone, and thanks for being here, and thank you for inviting me at this wonderful festival. I was just looking at the brochure, and I'm amazed how like so many wonderful, although the top star artists are here all together, and it's an honor for me to be part of this festival. And it's actually my debut here in Dubai, so I'm really much looking forward to play my concert on the 18th of September with Michael Francis, which is also first time working with him and with his wonderful orchestra. And as Maestro Maisky was saying, I will also be here only for 3 days, so I hope I will be able to come again to have more time also to be in this wonderful place. But I'm really looking forward to go. And this festival gives you the opportunity also to hear top artists, and today I'm going to listen to Maestro Maisky concert. So this is, I mean, one of the things that you can do here in Dubai with these wonderful artists, and they give you the opportunity to hear the best players. So I'm really looking forward to play on the 18th, and thank you for being here, and I hope to see you at the concert. Sorry, my English is not very well, but I hope you understand. Thank you very much.
As I said at the beginning, it's a great pleasure and an honor for the Maltese Orchestra to be present here, and also for our foundation, and to support our presence here. I would like to introduce Her Excellency Maria Camilleri Calleja, the Ambassador of Malta to the United Arab Emirates, for her introduction.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Nelson Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And I wish to use these words to congratulate the Foundation and Summit and the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra and all involved in this InClassica Festival who have made this possible. It's very difficult to say anything after so many beautiful speeches and so much gratitude that has been expressed. But I would like to say thank you to the Honorable Minister for his support to this initiative, for even taking the trouble to come here. I'm sure it's no trouble at all for him. It's a pleasure. I would like to thank Maestro Joseph Calleja, and I would like to see more of him here. Last time when we met, it was a meeting of two Callejas, one distinctly greater than the other, of course, and of my country, Malta, that we have been able to, through this teamwork, bring so much richness and richness in culture, support for artists, which is very, very important in my opinion. And it's definitely not the size of the country, but it's the size of the idea that counts. So I'd like to finish by saying thank you for the music.
I would like to kindly ask the Honorable Minister Jose Herrera, Malta's Minister for National Heritage, the Arts and Local Government, for his message this morning.
Thank you very much. This trip was actually quite a unique experience for me to witness firsthand the performance of Malta's Philharmonic Orchestra performing internationally in an international festival. I've followed many performances by the orchestra in Malta, but this is my first experience in this regard. The Philharmonic Orchestra in Malta is a very important asset within my portfolio. There are other orchestras, many other orchestras in Malta, but obviously the National Orchestra is unique and of great importance for our culture, for the Maltese cultural scene. Actually, it's quite an old orchestra. It's during the British period, there was an orchestra, national orchestra, which had then subsided a bit over the years. But in 1968, the orchestra in its present form was re-established and reintroduced, and has been growing over the years. And our ambition is to have an orchestra which can level out with other prestigious orchestras, especially those European ones, to continue enhancing Malta's cultural scene and Malta's cultural prestige. I also enjoyed hearing one of my favorite performers, Joseph Calleja, whom I've been following for a number of years. He's also a good friend of mine, and I congratulate him for his unique style and for promoting Malta's interests abroad. He's also Malta's cultural ambassador. He's perhaps our foremost performer, but he's also Malta's cultural ambassador. So he probably also sees these trips as an opportunity to promote Malta's cultural interests. Malta has long since been looked up as a promoter of the arts, even for centuries, even when we were under the rule of the Knights of Malta. We have a theatre, for example, the Manuel Theatre, which is one of the oldest theatres in Europe. And so Malta, being a classical country, should promote even the classical aspect of culture. Valletta, for example, a couple of years ago was also elevated for a period to the status of capital city of culture of Europe for a year. And we took this very seriously, and this experience also left a strong legacy in Malta. We have a foundation to continue promoting this legacy, Valletta. So yes, we do give a lot of importance to culture. Malta is a tourist-based country, and without culture, without arts, we cannot continue to promote Malta in that direction. I also would like to thank the European Foundation for the Support of Culture, which has been supporting the Philharmonic Orchestra for many years, also supports other entities, and for giving obviously us the opportunity to be present here in Dubai. Dubai is a very vibrant city. It grew from almost nothing to one of the most busiest cities that I have ever visited. It is also cosmopolitan, so if you're present here, you tend to attract the attention of the international world more easily, because it is very cosmopolitan. At the moment, you have also a very important expo being organized, the World Trade Expo being held here. Malta is also participating. So it's great to be here. Thank you. She told you thank you for the music. I tell you thank you for the experience.
Thank you very much. I would now ask any journalist who would like to pose any questions to our distinguished guests. Mr. John?
Good morning to everyone. My name is Judith Stassak for German broadcaster Deutsche Welle. I'd like to ask a question to Dr. Herrera. It clearly marks your presence here in Dubai that you support the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra very much. And this festival, InClassica Festival, marks the debut of the orchestra here. How important do you think is the continued export of Maltese culture and Maltese cultural industry to new and different regions around the world?
Thank you for the question. The exportation of Malta's culture abroad strengthens our identity and our presence. Malta is a small country. It is the smallest member of the European Union. We're still a very active member. We're very proud to form part of this union. But obviously, culture is a form of diplomacy, and is the best way to promote yourselves. Being present in international concerts and festivals like this will help Malta presence and strengthen our opportunities to attract even tourists. People come to Malta because they've heard of Malta. If you don't hear about a country, you don't know what the country has to offer, you will not visit that particular country. So being present in international festivals of this caliber helps Malta also attract, catch the eye of the international community. That's the word I wanted to use, catch the eye, and attract investment and attract also tourism.
James?
Hi, Julian.
James.
Julian
Yes,
from My Magazine. I have a couple of questions, please. The first to the Minister as well. InClassica in Dubai, as we've heard, has also included the Classic Piano International Competition, which is the final stage because there were 14 preliminary competitions in 14 different countries. In both this final stage and then the preliminary competition, there were compositions by living Maltese composers, as well as by the late Joseph Vella and Charles Camilleri. They were part of the compulsory repertoire, and there was also a special prize for best performance of Maltese composition. How beneficial do you think this inclusion of Maltese music is for Malta's musical heritage, especially in terms of exposure and promotion?
For me, to promote the Maltese classical composers is great. It's a privilege. I mean, for example, one of the composers you've just mentioned had an unfinished work, which my ministry is sponsoring to complete, which is great. These are some of the greatest composers Malta have ever had. Unfortunately, as I reiterated before, being a small country, the audience, if you limit it to Malta, is going to be always very limited. It is tough for Maltese artists sometimes to gain and garner international experience and international exposure. Few and far between are the Maltese artists who have succeeded in gaining an international reputation. One of them is present here today. These composers deserve to be honored internationally because of the quality and finesse of their work. Unfortunately, two of them have passed away, and their prestige and their reputation is gaining ground after they have passed away. So perhaps it's a pity that they didn't gain international recognition before. But yes, it is important, and I appreciate this, and I appreciate a lot that the Philharmonic Orchestra of Malta promotes also Maltese contributions. It's good to promote the classics, the international well-known classics. It's not just good, it's essential and indispensable, but it's also very much appreciated, especially by people like myself, that the Maltese classical composers and Maltese artists are also included in any curriculum that the orchestra chooses to promote.
Thank you.
Hello, hi. My name is James. I'm from Maltese Herald magazine. This is a question for Mr. Mark Yankar. The InClassica Festival is tapping into a market which arguably has not been fully exploited yet in the UAE. How impactful do you think this can be for the tourism sector here in terms of creating new opportunities? And how much of an influence do you think such festivals can have on the cultural life in Dubai?
I think it's absolutely incredible. Obviously, Dubai has a versatility of entertainment venues. I guess the most traditional form in terms of cultural music is Dubai Opera. The opportunity to have music throughout, whether it's major international concerts or classical like we have right now into the city, is important across its complete tourism strategy. As we welcome Expo 2020 in a few days' time, you know, across many of the pavilions, the cultural music is coming through in different traditional formats. So the opportunity to bring the InClassica series and musicians from both a practice and a recording opportunity as well, I think is a very important strategy for Dubai tourism, and one, honestly speaking, that InClassica has probably brought to their attention, to the front of their attention more than perhaps it was previously.
Thank you.
Julie from My Magazine. Again, just one other question, please, this time to the Minister. Sorry, to the Ambassador. So, in your role as Ambassador, you yourself often organize events celebrating Maltese culture here in the UAE. How special is it in your experience to have Joseph Calleja, to have the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra, and 3 other singers from Malta, Nicola Sait, Claire Key John, and Angelo Muscat, all who they're performing as part of the Middle East Classical Music Academy, to have them all together in one place on one occasion?
The role of the embassy in any country is to support its own product, to sell Malta, to promote Malta. Therefore, it comes only as natural to be in our portfolio, to support these activities, these ideas, to be present, even with our presence. You know, to give that, let's say, added value through our presence to the much bigger value that artists bring to the cultural scene. And I would like to say something about culture. Culture, in many ways, is a driver of the economy as well. It's an important part of the economy, but it's not only that. Culture should be a lifestyle, starting with education from our children. So it is important that these activities are not only supported by the embassy, but supported also by the Maltese communities and other communities in the country, to show what Malta is capable of and to also transmit the idea of what Malta is, what Malta breeds. When I see artists, the last time I met Joseph Calleja last June, I was very angry at him because he ruined my makeup. And the reason is because, especially when you are outside your country and you see what your country is capable of, then you realize that your country is much bigger than what geography dictates, much bigger than what the population dictates, because it's what a country can transmit. The verve of a country comes out through the artist and through the product that the artist is able to convey.
Thank you. Before we take any further questions, I would like to thank Mark Jankar for being with us. I know that he has a very urgent meeting at the arena, and so thank you for being with us this morning. Yes, Eliza.
Good morning, everyone. Eliza Ishkhanova, InClassica Press Office, on behalf of Reviewers Radio. So my question goes to Mr. Zygmunt Mifsud. So the global COVID-19 pandemic has caused immeasurable damage to the arts and culture sectors all around the world in terms of live performances and tours. However, we observed that the MPO has turned it into an opportunity to boost social media and YouTube presence with great success, leading to numerous recordings during the pandemic. So what does it mean to the MPO in light of this to once again be performing overseas to the live audience? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, we believe that when faced with such challenges, we see it as an opportunity to grow. In fact, during the pandemic, the MPO released an incredible number of video and audio recordings. And for us, this was another experience, another opportunity to develop the talent of our musicians. Obviously, thanks to Maestro Sergei Sambatyan, who was the driving force, the musical driving force behind such projects, and obviously all the team. But yes, definitely, we always prefer live performances. Our musicians are inspired by the vibe that is present during a live performance. And obviously, the best performances happen when we are performing live. So we are very happy to be here. We are very enthusiastic to be able to perform in front of such a wonderful audience. And may I say that, yes, this project was very tough for us for preparation. And please allow me to, I know I'm saying a lot of things, but believe me, there are many people behind such projects. And even for the preparation to come to Dubai, since our principal conductor was very busy here, we had to involve other conductors to prepare for the orchestra in between other concerts that we had. And I would like to take Mr. Rodrik Bujaya, who's here, who was part of the team, the musical assistant for this project behind Maestro Sergei Sambatyan. And yes, as Sergei said, we only had 3 hours of rehearsal together with Sergei Sambatyan yesterday. And obviously, thanks to the inspiration of such an artist like Joseph Calleja and obviously Maestro Sergei Sambatyan, yesterday's concert was really magical and we really enjoyed it, and we are looking forward for other future projects, other live concerts that we might have in the coming future. Thank you.
Hello, Lara Zamid from Times of Malta. Question for Joseph Calleja, please. Despite your busy calendar of concerts, you always commit to performing with the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra once or twice a year. What does it mean for you to be performing with the orchestra here in Dubai? And how do you feel about performing with the orchestra after so many performances that you have shared over the years?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lara. That's why in the beginning I called them my brothers and sisters, because not only I've been performing with them now for over a decade, but for example, I remember Sigmund, who was a member of the orchestra. We were students at the same time with the same teacher in Hamrun, the Borges, and where Maestro Paul Borges used to always say that I was a very good singer but an awful pianist, and he was completely right. So I want to also tap in and expand a little bit on what Her Excellency the Ambassador and what His Honorable Minister Herrera said about talent in Malta, musical talent in Malta. We might not have the best results in collective sports, in team sports, because of course we're after all just a population of over 500,000. But there is something in our water, or perhaps in our pastizzi, which are a cheesecake, salty cheesecake delicacy in Malta, because the number of talent, the numerous talent coming out of Malta is incredible. At the moment, I remember when I was studying, I had my debut at the age of 19, my professional debut, and when I was studying, there was pretty much only me trying to make it in the operatic world. Today, there are several, not just in opera, we have ballerinas, and with regards to Maltese talent, thanks to a foundation that I have launched with Bank of Valletta in Malta, we are now helping over 90 scholars from all the plethora of the performing arts to help them and supporting them together with other Maltese foundations, mostly government, to pursue their career abroad, their studies abroad. And I'm happy to say that some of these 90 scholars from Malta, which is a huge number when you consider the population, they are going to make it. We have even news that some of our young ballerinas have been accepted in the prestigious Royal Opera House Covent Garden ballet program, and also in the Bolshoi in Russia, amongst others. And last but not least, how does it feel to have an orchestra that is going from strength to strength? I mean, the orchestra is the backbone, one of the pillars of Maltese music. It is indispensable. There is no other word to explain it. And here as well, I have to commend credit where credit is due. the past years, the authorities in Malta have really supported the orchestra and culture in general. There is no doubt, if you look back at the last couple of years, there has been an explosion, a renaissance in culture in Malta. And this is good. This means that in the future we're going to have more cultural ambassadors representing Malta. And of course, as Minister Herrera rightly said before, the way forward for Malta is to have these ambassadors, these artists, these young people going around the world and making Malta proud. Thank you.
Gani Alexandria from Armenian Museum Agency. I have a question to Catherine Tabone. And during these past 2 days, we have seen MPO performing excellent under the direction of Dmitry Yablonsky and Sergei Sambatyan. And actually, Sergei Sambatyan has been the principal conductor of the MPO over the past 2 years. My question is, I'd like to know, how do you actually look back upon this tenure, and how would you evaluate the accomplishment MPO has made during this time, over the past 2 years?
Thank you for the question. I think the MPO has grown tremendously. Of course, that is because of two main reasons in my view. First of all is the quality and vision of its management, which is represented by Sigmund here, but it is also indispensable for an orchestra to have a strong artistic vision and to be able to develop musically. So yesterday, I was at the concert, of course, and I was really impressed by the way that Maestro Sambatyan conducted the whole concert, but in particular 2 pieces, which I had the opportunity of talking to him about. I find his musicality very inspiring, and I really think that what he did yesterday was nothing short of magical, actually. So it is no wonder that our musicians are feeling even more motivated to develop themselves artistically. And under the guidance of such a musical inspiration as Maestro Sambatyan, I am sure that they will continue to develop from strength to strength. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gruba Tatiana, InClassica Press Office, on the behalf of Pizzicato Magazine. So my question goes to Michael Francis. In your concert tomorrow, you're going to be presenting the work which is called Phantasms, a contemporary work by the composer-in-residence Alexei Shore, alongside with historical works by Brahms and Beethoven. What are your thoughts about presenting music for such varying periods in one program? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I mean, it's a pleasure, of course, to come to this festival and to celebrate all the variety of music that's being performed. And music has to be a living art form. Otherwise, we're a mausoleum, even more than just a museum. So I think it's very important that we are celebrating the music of today. And it's a great pleasure to be performing contemporary music, which, of course, Beethoven was at one point as well. So we're delighted to be performing Phantasms with Stella Chen. Alexei Shore's music is particularly lyrical, melodic, and most appealing. And I think it'll work very well with the Brahms, which is a fascinating conversation with the past. And I think what is also interesting about the Beethoven is that this is the way that Mahler saw the necessity of keeping this conversation forward today. And of course, that's one of the most important things that we do as artists, is, especially today, is keep the great conversation going with the past. And it is through art that we manage to do that. And it is so important that we allow this for our young people, for the culture coming up, that we keep having the great conversation, the deep subjects, the things that we can't talk around the dinner table that we can through the power of art. And I think this concert celebrates that in a very simple but also very special way. So we're delighted, profoundly excited, and I'm looking forward to working with Stella on that particular piece. Thank you for the question.
Татьяна Исаулова, «Российская газета». Мой вопрос Сергею Самбатяну. Сергей, вы главный дирижер Мальтийского филармонического оркестра и Государственного симфонического оркестра Армении. Но на фестивале вы дирижировали не только этими коллективами, но и многими другими. Скажите, пожалуйста, каково это работать с разными оркестрами, включая Российский национальный оркестр, в рамках одного фестиваля? И ваше впечатление от сотрудничества с ними. Большое спасибо.
Yesaulava Tatiana, Russian newspaper. The question is to Sergei Sambatyan. You are here in your role as principal conductor for both of Malta Philharmonic Orchestra and Armenian State Symphony Orchestra, in addition to conducting other orchestras, including the Russian National Orchestra. How does it feel working with different orchestras within the same festival, and what are the challenges for you personally? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. And of course, it is a huge responsibility to present two orchestras and to be principal conductor for Malta Philharmonic and artistic director and principal conductor for Armenian State Symphony, and to present them on a such high level at the festival and with the greatest musicians, with very famous the programs and contemporary music as well, but also to work with great orchestras like Slovak Philharmonic, Jerusalem Symphony, Russian National Orchestra. That's fantastic. Of course, it's not easy to bring all together and to create the focus during the one rehearsal, because you can see the schedule of the festival. There is no hour that you can ask for extra the rehearsal. That's not the main, but of course it's fantastic to hear the differences between the orchestras. So that's, as Ahmed Tifo mentioned, that's fantastic to to see the festival and to enjoy the musicians, but also as a conductor, so during the 20 days I'm here from the 25th of August, and to think about the orchestras, that the philosophies. The orchestra is not only just the sound and the team of very talented musicians. That's the sound, that's the philosophy, and that's fantastic for me as a conductor. And today, so for example, today we have just one day rehearsal with Misha Maisky, and we will play Tchaikovsky Rococo, which is very the famous piece. But of course, even the rehearsal, it's very important, the process to create the sound. And yes, then I have 2 concerts more with the Russian National Orchestra, and that's, of course, that's just joy, and that's the level of the festival, when you can hear many orchestras, and I think I'm very lucky that I have a chance to work with all of them. Thanks.
Good morning, my name is Marina and I'm from Musical Life magazine. My question goes to Stella Chen. You are going to be performing Alexei Shor's Phantasms, a work that you presented recently with Armenian State Symphony Orchestra here in Dubai. This time you will be presenting it with the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra. Is there anything different about this performance that you are looking forward to? And does the fact that you will be performing it in front of its composer influence the manner in which you approach the piece? Thank you.
I don't think this time it will be with the Malta Philharmonic, unless I'm very, very mistaken.
I have no objection with that. Costa, if you want to invite us another day.
It's with Deutsche Staatsphilharmonie in Rheinland-Pfalz.
But it's always a joy to play this piece, no matter with whom and where. I feel like every time I approach it, there's more to uncover. I would hope that I'm not too scared by the fact that the composer's in the audience, but of course it will be wonderful to have him there. And I look forward to speaking with him in person. We've exchanged some messages since the last time I played the piece. It's a great privilege to have him here. I'm looking forward to creating a new interpretation with Maestro Francis. And did I answer all of your questions? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Джанет Аральт, я представляю издание Classical Music News.
Hello, my name is Janet. I represent Classical Music News.
У меня вопрос Алану Киркову.
I have a question to Alan Kirkov.
Скажите, провести событие такого масштаба – непростая задача, и прежде всего с организационной точки зрения, учитывая, что локацию пришлось поменять в самый последний момент. Расскажите, как вам удалось справиться со всеми трудностями и почему именно Дубай выбран в качестве места проведения фестиваля InClassica? Спасибо.
Спасибо большое, на говори по-русски. Sorry about that. I don't understand Russian, of course, please.
A festival of this scale obviously carries with a lot of pressure and challenges, especially taking into consideration the last-minute change in location. How have things progressed so far from organizational perspective, and how have you found Dubai to be as a host for a festival of this type? Thank you very much.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, even in a comment which I gave to Times of Malta a few days ago, for me personally, being Maltese and the artistic director of a Maltese foundation, it was very disappointing and heartbreaking after 2 years of preparations to hold this big, much anticipated festival in Malta, to have been constrained to postpone or rather relocate now this festival for this year to Dubai. So yes, the challenge initially was first of all to hold such a festival even in our home country, and to organize all the logistics and the venues, the programming, which was going to be a very huge thing for Malta, considering our size and also the facilities and resources that we have. However, we turned this into an opportunity, and actually for the Malta Philharmonic Orchestra, for example, this has been turned into a greater opportunity because they have the opportunity to perform abroad here in Dubai rather than at home. So the greatest disappointment, unfortunately, is for the local public to have missed out on this opportunity. And for us, then, it was an opportunity in a different way, whereby we are managing to internationalize even more the Malta Festival, and that's why it is now InClassica in Dubai. So the challenges of organizing such a huge festival abroad is, of course, poses more challenges initially, despite the fact that we are very used to organizing international festivals. As I said earlier on, we hold around 15 international festivals around the world. But this being our biggest ever festival that we have organized, in terms of also the number of international orchestras participating in one festival, and also the competition and also the academy, that was a greater challenge. However, I must say that what we had been preparing for 2 years, we managed to shift and to organize and bring to life just over not even 2 months. So that reflects also the amount of preparation that we have done over the past 2 years. And it was a matter of finding the venues available here, which we were very lucky to have found certain periods available at the Dubai Opera and the Coca-Cola Arena, especially that we have found this hall here at Zabil Sarai to host us for 1.5 months with all our activities. And I must say that due to the very well prepared teamwork that we have within the foundation, the challenges have actually been overcome very smoothly from an organizational point of view and also from an artistic point of view. So we're very lucky actually to have found very well, we're welcomed in this manner, and the resources here are great, the facilities are excellent at all the venues. So we are actually very happy to be even bringing classical music towards this local scene, in the best way possible by presenting the greatest stars within the classical world and the best orchestras at the moment. And I would like even to add on what the minister has said. I think the minister pointed out that he would like to see the orchestra reach a certain level. I must say that after yesterday's performance and even the performance here within this festival has brought them to the same level playing field of the other orchestras. We're talking of the Russian National Orchestra, the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra, the Rhineland-Pfalz Staatsphilharmonie, Slovak Philharmonic, the Kaliningrad Symphony Orchestra, and of course the Armenian State Symphony Orchestra. So Malta's Philharmonic is now at that level, and it is a matter of keeping on now internationalizing their presence. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Alexei. I present Russian TV and radio from Kaliningrad region, Baltic coast, and I have one question for Misha Maisky. This festival is taking place amidst a global pandemic which has hugely impacted the world at large and the classical music sector in particular. How significant is it in your mind that such an event with all the musicians is actually happening? And how does it feel for you to be part of it? Thank you.
Of course, it was very challenging times for everyone, musicians in particular. On the other hand, I always try to see glass half full, or at least quarter full. And there is always positive side to any situation. I have 6 beautiful children, so I managed to spend much more time with them than usual. And as well, a chance to reflect on music that I performed all my life, maybe sometimes too often, too much in a way, traveling all over the world. So now I'm very happy, of course, to return to a busy schedule, and because I believe that, of course, no electronic ways of communicating with audience can replace the live concerts, and it's completely different experience which we all cherish. And so I hope that the worst is behind us, and we have a chance to recover from all these difficult times.
We have somebody here in the front, please. Yes, John. Microphone's coming.
Again, my name is Joseph Cho. I come all the way from Seoul, South Korea. I represent the Seoul Times. It has been great for me, great opportunity for me to attend, great concerts and performances, and hobnobbing with musical luminaries and dignitaries. But last night it was particularly great, and the chief conductor of Malta Orchestra and tenor Joseph Kalea, very particularly when you sang the tunes, I know Edelweiss and also Le Mio, that made me really happy. Thank you for that. And my question to you is, do you have any immediate or detailed plan to come all the way to the Far East countries of China, Japan, Korea, particularly particularly Korea. There was a small question. And second question and a small comment is, Your Excellencies, Mr. Minister, Madam Ambassador, with your presence, I feel increasingly, newly realized that how powerful the music can play for in the world of diplomacy again. And I think your efforts has been great to me. And my question is, looks like this world class, the biggest musical observatory. I personally feel Far Eastern countries are kind of underrepresented. Do you have any plan for to promote your culture, your music, Malta Orchestra to my region of the world, that is Far East, China, Korea, and Japan? Do you have any plan? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I have great memories performing with both Hae Kyung Hong and Sumi Jo in South Korea a few years ago. I do have plans. I have plans to perform in Thailand for the first time. I have plans to return to Singapore, and in the future as well I have plans to return to Japan. So hopefully as well we'll add Korea, South Korea. It will be an absolute pleasure. I remember how enthusiastic with Sumi Jo I had performed in front of for an outdoor audience. I think, I don't know, 15 or 16,000 people. It was fantastic. She's a great artist, a great colleague. And I remember with real satisfaction the warmth of the Korean people. So yes, you're definitely right. I think that my performances in the past in Asia, I always they make more of a fuss when we're there, because of course they're not used to having artists that are mostly in Europe and North America. So when we go there, it's really incredible to see the love, to see the warmth, and how knowledgeable they actually are. So it's always a pleasure to return to these territories. Thank you.
I would like to state that it is very much within my country's vision to try and carry the Maltese flag to the east. It's interesting to note that we do have a number of cultural memoranda of understandings with Asian countries. We have an important one with China. In fact, China has a number of cultural centers in Europe. And one of the first centers that did open, cultural centers that did open, was in Malta. And this cultural center helps us exchange cultural activities between the two countries. Maltese artists have gone to China and have promoted our culture, and the Chinese have reciprocated. My ambition and my vision is obviously to try and reach as much of Asia as possible. Asia is a huge market. From a population perspective, you're mentioning probably half the world's population live in China. So it's the biggest market. It is very cultural orientated. These countries are very old countries, very countries with massive traditions. They love the performing arts. So yes, there is, and they're very curious people. So anything which is European and not that traditional attracts their curiosity, as Joseph Calais has said. So they do appreciate Western art. So yes, I would like to see even our orchestra reaching out to countries such as South Korea and the like. And thank you for your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and thank you, Mr. Calais. Thank you very much.
There's another question at the back.
Hello, my question is to Anatifu. I understand you'll be performing a European romantic work here in Dubai, and I just wondered how it felt to be bringing that to a place where arguably it has less of a tradition of performance here, less of a market here.
Well, thanks for your question. I chose to play Chausson poem because I think it's a masterpiece for the violin, and it's not an often played piece, so that's why I try to propose it everywhere I can, because I just love so much playing this piece, which gives the violinist the opportunity, as you said, to express his tone, his sound, but it's also very difficult technically speaking. That's why you have to have a great technique to be able not to think about the technical problem, but to think about the expression of this piece. So, of course, every concert is different, and to be able to play it here in such a big hall, because I believe the Coca-Cola Arena is a very, very big hall, it will be a wonderful experience for me, and of course, the feeling that I have when I play, it's different every concert, so I will see on Saturday how I feel. On the 18th, we will rehearse with the orchestra for the first time, so I'm really looking forward to play this piece for my first time with Michael Francis and with Deutsche Stadtphilharmonie Orchestra. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Hi, Deutsche Welle again. A question to Alain. We saw growing attendance in the audiences throughout the festival. Is there any explanation for that? Thank you.
I wouldn't know how to explain how a growing audience is evolving. Of course, we're very happy about it. I think it's also a proof that our concerts are having impact here locally. I do believe that people bring people along, and if people who are attending have a nice experience, they have something to relate back to at home, and family, friends, and their networks. So we are glad that the audience is day by day increasing. I wouldn't actually really say that the audience is growing, because even the first concerts were very well attended at the Dubai Opera, and I actually do not recall any of the concerts not being well attended, but of course I feel that the vibe is increasing during the concerts. It's not anymore sort of a new thing. I've seen also and been told that there were repeat patrons at our concerts, so people are returning to listen to more than just one concert. So that is the opportunity that we're giving, and that's why it's a series of concerts within the festival. So it's very encouraging to see that people are really enjoying it and appreciating what we are presenting, and that fills us with a lot of courage and encouragement to keep on performing our work here also in Dubai. Thank you. I think we've answered all questions. Anybody else who has any question before we wrap it up? Okay. So I thank everybody for being here with us this morning. I thank all the distinguished guests and soloists and performers, representatives of the orchestras, and of course Her Excellency and the Honorable Minister for honoring us with their presence here this morning. And I wish the Minister also a very nice day today before returning back home with the orchestra tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, and I see you at the concerts this evening and in the next couple of days. Thank you.